So I'm starting this new reading log with Moriarty the Patriot. I read 3 and 4 and 5. So this is like a mystery detective, a lot of action. It's actually very fun to read. I'm enjoying it so much. Now, of course, our main characters are the Moriarty. Now, their main goal is to get rid of nobles that commits crime behind the scene, and these crimes are very horrible. Their intention is basically wipe them out and bring them to justice by the help of Sherlock Holmes. So, of course, Sherlock Holmes is going to be introduced in the store along with John Watson and Miss Hudson, as you probably know from the regular Sherlock Holmes. Though in the last 3 volumes that I just read, it talks about more about Sherlock Holmes as well as the war between India and Afghanistan, as well as there's a character named Irene Idler. She's like a famous actress, and there's a case where they need something from her because she stole something very important from the Queen, and now it's involved with the Moriarty as well as M16 and Sherlock Holmes, of course. Now, Irene Adler has something planned on her sleeve where now she's staying at Sherlock's home because Sherlock did something to her place. I feel like this story has similarities to the show Sherlock Holmes with Benedict Cumberbatch. I hope I said his name correctly because I watched the show, even the movies. But yeah, this is it's a mix of, again, the Moriarty's intention as well as Sherlock Holmes, and then overall I think in the end everything's gonna collide. This is one of those manga that you want to binge read because sometimes it does leave a cliffhanger. So I decided to stop at volume 5 because it didn't leave anything serious. And so right now, Adler's just staying at Sherlock. The Moriarty are are taking a back seat because for now they haven't found any other nobles doing horrible crimes, and so now it's focused more on James Moriarty, not William, because James Moriarty works for the M16 and he's actually the one who's looking for Irene Adler. And yeah, I'm actually loving this series so much. And you also get to learn a lot from each characters. Like Moron, he's actually part of William's side. He actually went to the war and they had to use him for a certain case. And yeah, I am actually looking forward to read more of Moriarty. So just finished this fantasy manga called Beyond the Clouds, The Girl Who Fell from the Sky. I read volume 1 and 2. See, you got this young boy who lives in this area where just a lot of smoke, and so the sky is always yellow. He dreamed of seeing stars one day and having to see a nice clear sky. However, that's not possible. And then he met a little girl at this junkyard. Now this girl has a wing, however she's missing one wing, so he decided to take care of her. Unfortunately, having a wing is very rare and can be dangerous because some people might use it for their advantage. And then one day he decided to make a wing for her because this boy, he's like an inventor, he's very wise, and back in the junkyard decided to practice with the new wing he made. However, all of a sudden, a bunch of bad guys decided to interrupt, and well, the goal was to kidnap the girl with a wing. Unfortunately, something horrible happened. The fight ended up being brutal, and then all of a sudden, the girl released this dark power that she had no control. And then the boy had no choice but to kind of help her, remind her that everything is okay. Then she, of course, collapsed, and then she ended up with this really bad fever that they can't find medicine for it. And then the boy decided to go on a journey to find a doctor. He's a sage doctor in the forest, and before the doctor can agree to give him some medicine, the little boy had to do some tasks, and of course he followed through and then gave the medicine to the girl. But now that she's feeling better, there's actually a big mission. This girl needs to find a magician or a mage to help her control her power. If not, she might not make it the next time. So the next step is to leave town and go to the big city. Now their names are Theo and Mia. So Theo and Mia are going on this next adventure. Now Theo has always been wanting to travel and go out and have an adventure, and so now his dream is coming true. Along the way, they do meet some good people, and some of these people help them to enter the city because they need a pass. Once they enter the city, it is their goal to find that magician, and so they've been asking around people, but they have no clue. until they think maybe a fortune teller might be a magician. And so they did find one, however, that didn't go well. And this fortune teller was kind of causing trouble, and he actually took a key from Theo, and then the magician or fortune teller was stopped by a bunch of crooks. And so that's how the volume ends. It's a really nice story. It's about a boy just wanting to see a lot of things based on books that he reads, because he's a big reader. And now that he's on this adventure, and of course he really wants to help Mia, because he really cares for Mia. And let's just say I'm finally reading this manga, because I've had this manga for so long. I have a lot of manga that I really need to start reading, because I've had them for a while now. And so the illustration here is really, really nice and kind of unique and different. And yeah, look at that. Now, Theo, when he was trying to find the sage doctor, he actually met a few fairies. And so whatever he's reading, it's like it's coming true. And now he's very curious about the world, that maybe someday one of his wishes will come true. And yeah, it's a really nice story, a big fantasy. So looking forward to read more of it. I believe there's only like 5 volumes or 4, so I'm not quite sure. What I have here is called The Ice Guy and the Cool Girl. This manga is always easy to read and very quick because how thin it is. Now in this volume, the group they're all co-workers. Himuro, Fuitsuki, Sajima, and Komori. They all decided to go to a nice hot spring, and then Sajima actually asked Komori out on a date. Like, he basically asked her out because he has a big crush on her, and of course she was very happy. Now we have these two, Fuyutsuki and Himuro. Now Himuro, of course, has the biggest crush on Fuyutsuki, but he still haven't had the chance to ask her out, and so it's kind of taking him a while. But during all their getaways and hangouts, he's so very happy being next to her. And then, again, they're just still getting to know each other. Now, Fuyutsuki, I think she's slowly showing some affection. Like, she really wants to get to know him, and basically wants to know everything before anybody does, because she did mention she's a bit jealous. And yeah, it's kind of obvious that she might have a thing for Himuro. And then Himuro has a sister, and so she's actually having a big debut because she's a singer, and so that was fun. But overall, again, it's a very quick and easy to read. So we'll see what the next volume is going to be all about. Maybe Himuro will have the chance to ask her out. We'll see. But this cover is really pretty. It's like fall and winter vibe. Now volume 8 comes out next month, so I can't wait for that. Here's another manga that I had for a while, and I'm finally reading it. It's called Horimiya. I really like the story so far. I can understand why it's very popular. Now we have this 2 main character named Miyamura. Now Miyamura, he may look like a nerd, but actually outside of school, he's a total bad boy with ears, piercings, and tattoos. And while Hori, our main girl, now inside school, she's very popular, she's very pretty, but at home she's very simple and busy taking care of her little brother. And so sometimes she really skip out on function, like going after school, because her parents are busy, and so she had no choice but to take care of her little brother. And then one day, her little brother brought Miyamura home because Miyamura was in the neighborhood and he was helping him. And then suddenly, Miyamura noticed this is Hori from school, but Hori was in shock to find out, like, wait, who are you? And that's when his secret was revealed, as well as Hori, because now these two look completely different outside of school. And ever since their encounter, showing that these two have a different side of them outside of school, Miyamura has been hanging out at Hori's place because Hori's brother has been asking him. Now in school they do talk, but of course they try to keep it simple and not let people get confused about their relationship, because they're just really good friends. Down the line, one of the classmates do find out about Miyamura's secrets of having ear sprays and tattoo, because one day they have gym, and Miyamura always wear long sleeve during summer or any type of season because he doesn't want anybody to know about his tattoo. Now Miyamura wants to keep his secret as it is, because I think he just want to stay what people think about him in school. But I think slowly, eventually, they'll figure out about his true identity. But yeah, it's a really nice story so far. They also have a school field trip, and then one of Hori's friend named Yuki, she did visit one time at her place, and it was Miyamura who opened the door. But then Miyamura, looks very different, and so he kind of pretended to be Hori's cousin. Now Yuki has a big crush on Miyamura. In this situation, Hori doesn't really have any choice but to go along with the flow and just see where everything goes. And basically, Hori and Miyamura are just gonna do their best to keep their secret. But for now, there's only one student named Toro knows about his secret, not her secret yet. And yeah, let me just show you guys the inside from the first volume. And so, oh, sorry about that. So yeah, really, I'm gonna show you guys how Miyamura looked like. Now that's how Miyamura looked like in school. Now let's see if I can show you guys how he looks like outside of school. Oh yeah, that's him. That's him right there. His hair is up. And what else I can show you? Right there. And let's see if I can show us something else as well. Oh yeah, his tattoos. Like, I don't understand how he gets tattooed for such a young age, but I think his parents doesn't mind unless they don't know. But yeah, that's his tattoo right there. And yeah, it's a cool story so far. So I'm looking forward to read more about Horimiya. Okay, I just finished reading this manga called Cinderella Closet Volume 1 and 2. This was very refreshing. I really like the story so far. So we have our main character named Haruka. She's in school and she has a job. One day she met Hikaru. Now Hikaru, she's very well dressed, very beautiful, because Haruka doesn't really have time to be pretty because she's too busy with a job and a school. And then they sort of become friends because Haruka was asked on a date and she has no clue about makeup and fashion, and so Hikaru decided to help her. Now when it comes to Hikaru, there was a twist. I don't know if I should say this because, I mean, most of my reading log, I just say what I want to say, even though it might be a spoiler. But now Hikaru actually is a cross-dresser. So if you know what I mean, you know what I mean. So I was completely surprised, and it was just so refreshing because I never read something like this. I had to stop for a moment because, like, wow, I really like this story because that was a big twist. It's fun. I love Hikaru's personality. I think it's because Haruka, she's still like figuring things out. She doesn't have everything together, and Hikaru, she's very mature, and so Hikaru always take care of her, watch for her, and even clean her apartment. And so yeah, I love this duo. They're quite fun and entertaining. And so now after her date, everything went well, but the guy, I guess he realized he's not ready to, I guess, really date her, and for now they just want to get to know each other. However, Hikaru, on the other hand, now Hikaru actually had a nice conversation with the guy that Haruka was sort of dating, and then eventually they sort of exchanged number, and so they're like kind of talking, so that's a little bit mysterious. We don't know what's Hikaru's agenda or intention, but we will see. Maybe there's going to be a love triangle. Who knows? Who knows? As for now, Hikaru and Haruka are just having a good time being friends because Hikaru is very helpful to Haruka when it comes to fashion and beauty. And of course, Haruka is still trying to figure out what she wants to do with dating and with her love life, and especially trying to keep up with Hikaru because Hikaru is always have it together. And so, yeah, I really enjoy it. So I think there's about 7 volumes that came out, and so yeah, I got this from my library. I'm so glad that they had this because I wasn't sure if I was ready to commit buying this manga, but yeah, really enjoy it. And so let me show you guys some insight from the first volume. Really nice illustration. So that's Hikaru, and then this is Haruka. She's completely different because she had a really nice makeover. Sorry about the angle. Okay, let's see. Now this is what Hikaru looked like without her wig, and so this is what she looked like with her wig, if that makes sense. And so yeah, really nice. Can't wait to read more. Oh my god, it's just so much fun. I can't wait. So I just finished reading this manga called Even Dogs Go to Other Worlds, Life in Another World with My Beloved Hound, Volume 3. And so in this volume, we're continuing on their journey finding another Fenrir because Lady Claire believed that she's the reincarnation of the first family who saw Fenrir many years ago. Now, it took them a while because it was very challenging. There was no sign of another Fenrir until they heard an attack by trolls, and they found out that the trolls was actually attacking a small Fenrir, and this Fenrir actually was dying. However, Takumi, now he has a special gift of cultivating herbs. That is his power in this world, and so he was able to conjure a special plant to help revive the dog. And thankfully, the plant worked, and everyone was so happy. Now, they decide to actually bring the small Fenrir back to Lady Claire's place because it was the right thing to do in case if they do leave it there, the trolls might attack again. Once they were home, of course, the small pup was happy and kicking and decided to name it Sherry. Now, after all this good news, they also found out that Takumi's power might be dangerous because if he overuses it, he might collapse again. It is because he might have overused his power, and now they have to watch it. Then after this, they decide to actually talk about making a business out of using his herbs. And of course, they need to ask the father first because he's in charge. And they also find out he's actually coming to visit to see Claire. And now everybody's all trying to prepare for his appearance. At the same time, Claire's been kind of like scared of him because apparently there's been a bunch of proposal. That part I was a little bit confused. I'm not sure if the proposal is for her or the little sister. I think it's for both, and of course the two sisters are not ready for it, and so now everybody's kind of like busy preparing. And yeah, that's how the volume ends, and we'll see how the father reacts to all the stuff that's new around the house, the small Fenrir and Takumi as well. So it's not a bad of story. I think it's cute, a very simple fantasy, nothing too crazy. So I'm looking forward to the next volume. Now, this manga, I've been kind of torn whether I like it or not. I think it's because there's just so many red flags when it comes to Kirishima, and the fact that these two are only 17, they're still in high school, but they act so mature for their own age. And so now in the last volume, they were in this sort of situation. They made a bet, and well, volume 5 and 6, now volume 5 especially, there was a lot of action, a little bit of violence here and there, but after that whole incident, everything was fine. About the bet was as long as Kirishima was home before midnight, which he did, and so now they're sort of boyfriend and girlfriend, but their relationship still feel friendly, or I don't know, I think it's just full of games. I think Yoshino do want to get to know him, but somehow Kirishima might be holding back. And there was also a scene where Kirishima and Soma had a fight. It is because, Kirishima likes to take off Soma because he probably thinks that Soma likes Yoshino. So it's sort of like a love triangle, but we don't really know if Soma really liked Yoshino, but I think it's sort of obvious. And then during that situation or incident, there's a mystery new character apparently that might be causing trouble for Yoshino. So apparently in this last volume, we get to find out that there might be something big happening behind the scene when it comes to the Yakuza, especially with this whole arranged meetup with Yoshino and Kirishima. It seems like it might be a facade, but we don't really know too much. But it seems like some Yakuza are taking some action or causing trouble that might cause another war, or this whole peace treaty between the Yakuza and all the other territorial might not be happening. And so yeah, the story is getting interesting. I think that's where I'm more interested than towards their whole love triangle, but I still find it kind of funny between all these three characters. But other than that, it's getting there. It has potential. I was about to read volume 7 and 8, but I'm gonna wait because now the anime, I feel like it's gonna focus and cover the whole entire 8 volumes, because I feel like the anime is kind of like a little bit rushed, but somehow like it's missing a lot of information. But that's how it goes. And I found out that this manga is actually on pause. I don't know how long it's been on pause, and so we don't know when the volume 9 is gonna come out. Other than that, again, I'm starting to like the story. It's getting interesting, especially about the whole Yakuza. And when it comes to Yoshino and Kirishima, well, I think they're getting better with their relationship. Kirishima seems like he needs to learn to mellow and not use his anger for everything because Kirishima and Shoma does not get along. And Yoshino wants them to get along, but of course that's gonna take time. Also in the story, we also get to see Yoshino's mom. Now the mom has been not feeling well, I guess ever since Yoshino's dad's passed away. And so we get to see a little bit about her, but overall, I can't wait to read volume 7, but that's probably going to happen soon because I think the anime is going to cover the whole entire 8 volumes. So looking forward to that. Let's keep going with this reading log. So I just finished reading Let's Eat Together, Aki and Haru. This is actually a BL, but right now Aki and Haru are just really good friends. They're both in college. They love to eat. They love having their friends come over. So in this volume, it was mostly a lot of fried food, making gyoza, making noodle, and on top of it, they like to add cheese. It's almost like eating those dakgalbi, the Korean food where you add cheese and kimchi on top of it. Yeah, which I haven't tried before, but looks so good. Aside from, eating, just having a good time, now since these two are both in college, they have to think about finding a job after college. And so that's been on their mind, especially Aki, because he's not really entirely sure what he wants to do, even though, like, he likes to cook. It hasn't occurred to him whether or not if he wants to become a cook or something to do with cooking, but I think he believes he wants to do something with merchandising or design. And then Haru, he's been into photography. I think he wants to plan continuing with photography and learn more about photography, especially about taking certain angles and then editing them. All in all, these two are just really having a good time, having each other. I think in the first volume, I believe Aki was worried about splitting, but I'm pretty sure they're going to stick together. Now, in the first volume, there was a little bit of a sign of affection that Aki may have a thing for Haru, but in this volume, it wasn't really focused on that. It was just mostly focused on college and cooking, and so I think hopefully maybe there'll be some romance down the line, but we will see. But overall, I love reading this manga. It's very quick, it's very thin, very easy, and just straightforward. And so I'm looking forward to reading more. Okay, I'm so excited for this. Might be a little bit gross, just a fair warning. This one's called Psycho-Pass. This is actually a prequel to the anime. Now, after reading this, at first, I was a little bit confused what was going on. Now, I think I know what's going on. So basically, this is a mystery detective manga, sort of psychological, has to do with medical stuff and sort of science. Now, their main goal is to find out that there's been missing bodies, and inside the body there's no organs. And in this story, they have this thing called hue. Now their hue is like, depending on their emotional state or mental state, the higher your hue is, you're likely need to see someone, maybe a therapist, just to control your hue. I hope that makes sense. This is the part where I was a little bit confused. And then not to mention the inspectors, like, our main characters, I think a few of them are like former criminals. I was like, okay. I think I should have watched the anime. I read online that it was best to see the anime first, then read the manga, because I think the anime would have been like a great introduction to the prequel of this manga. So I hope that all makes sense. So now they're just trying to figure out what's going on with all the missing body and the organs. But down the line, they found out that the organs has been missing. It's because the culprit has been eating them. This is the gross part. It is because in Japan society, in this story, the main ingredient of their food is called something oats. I just had it in my head, but now I don't remember. But it's something to do with oats. And the culprit is actually allergic to the oats. And so he realized he needs to eat organs. And of course, it was hard to find, organs. And so he decided to work at a hospital. And then I guess he had the idea to just eat the organs from a dead body. And they also had a interesting connection about these organs, because in the beginning of the story, they found out that one of the organs has sort of like numbers. It is not artificial, quote unquote. It says that it's a biological organ. It could be, it was done for experimental like about 60 years ago, and they're trying to find the main doctor who's been operating, all these people that needed, transplant. And in the end, they also made another connection. Now, the culprit that was eating the organs used to work to that same hospital where the doctor operate those organs, and he's actually currently there. And so that left with not a big cliffhanger. I only have volume 1 so far, so I can't wait to read the rest of the volume and definitely watch the anime. Now, I definitely recommend this manga if you're into some sort of mystery, detective, psychological, to do with medical and maybe science. It can be gross, but honestly, for some reason, this doesn't gross me because I've watched a lot of mystery shows similar to this, like K-drama. But yeah, I really like it so far, and I'm looking forward to read more. Oh, I forgot to mention, this only has 5 volumes too. And of course, I almost forgot to show you guys some, insight about this first volume. And so I think this volume came out 2016. I believe the first page is colored. I think this is from the anime. So far, I'm really liking the story. It's not too gruesome. I really like it, honestly, because I like reading mystery because I'm very curious about how did it happen, who did this. It makes me want to also guess. And so, yeah, it's kind of fun, to be honest. But yeah, really looking forward to read more of Psycho-Pass. I'm so sorry about the background noise. That's my heater. And so I just finished reading this manga called In the Clear Moonlit Dusk. I've seen this manga here and there, and I found this on my library, which I was kind of surprised because I did research it online in their website, but I didn't see it. And so I decided to just read volume 1 for now and just give you guys my reaction. I do have volume 2 on the side. So it's about this 2 prince. She's actually a girl. This is the other prince. They're very popular in their school. Her name is Yoi, and then his name is Ichimura. Now, her name actually means dusk, or she was born in the evening in Japanese. It kind of makes sense why it's called In the Clear Moonlit Dusk. And so now, since these two are super popular, somehow they end up meeting up. And at first she didn't really like him because I feel like he's just full of himself. I feel like he's taking advantage of his popularity to get to her, but at the same time, she's actually very surprised that a boy actually talked to her, because in school, everybody knows that she looks like a boy, but she's actually a girl. And I guess a boy never really approached her. Now, she has friends, of course. And so, throughout the story, he likes to bother her because, yes, she's very pretty, and I guess he's very curious, and, she seems very mysterious as well. And, well, he's just trying to get to know her. He's sort of clingy, to be honest. But at the same time, she's sort of just let him be. Because Ishimura is very determined to get to know Yoi. And then Yoi, she's just very surprised that a boy actually talks to her. And then in the end, Ichimura made a request or a suggestion that, they should go out, as an experiment. Now, that sounds very familiar. It's very familiar to A Condition Called Love. And at the same time, Ichimura's character reminds me of Kirishima, and of course the guy from A Condition Called Love. And yeah, the story is not bad. I just feel like the romance is very the same from other romance. And you know what? I'm going to give this another chance because I'm actually interested toward her character to see where it develops, and just to see where her characters may end up, because maybe she wants to try this dating because she probably haven't dated anybody, very similar to A Condition Called Love. But anywho, I'm sort of invested toward this story because we just have 2 completely opposite characters. And so here's some insight. I'm so sorry it's dark right now. I know, very bad lighting. But yeah, this is the first volume, of course. Give you guys some insight from the first volume. Really nice illustration, and the way Ichimura stare at Yoi, yeah, that's very charming. It kind of reminds me of the other main guy from My Love Mixa. I think it's the way he stare at her. It kind of make you drawn to like read more about him and of course about Yoi. I think that's one thing that's kind of made me gravitate to reading more about this manga because I'm kind of curious. And so yeah, let's see where this story goes. Also, I want to bring this up because this is one of my pet peeve about reading some manga like that. Like, it's get caught off. It's so bad. I think there's some that's so bad. Look at that. I can't even tell like what does it say. And yeah, that's just one of my pet peeves. Like, I think this is like a third manga that has this type of like, I don't know, error or very bad printing. I think the other one that I remember was The Eminence of Shadow. Like, look how bad that is. Like, look how bad that is. Like, do I even want to start collecting this manga? Because it's so bad. Like, really, really bad. But anywho, like, look how bad that is. Do you guys feel the same? Let me know. Alright, I'm gonna end this reading log. I know this week I read a lot of new titles: Beyond the Clouds, Horimiya, Cinderella Closet, let's see, Psycho-Pass, as well as In the Clear Moonlit Dusk. Now, some of them has been in my TBR for a while, and you know, for me, I like to read all sorts throughout the week. I know it might sound so crazy reading so many titles at the same time, but you know what? I really don't mind. The way I remember things is just remembering all the key points, but sometimes I do forget certain things, but that is why I do take notes once in a while because it helps me when I do review and, you know, do my video. And so other than that, all this manga that I read this week was so good. I really enjoyed them. And yeah, I know probably next week I'm gonna start another series, and you probably won't see these titles for a while because I like to rotate and it's the only way I can do. And so I hope you guys enjoyed this reading log. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.